Dillian the Body Snatcher right here. It's a champ. Big up to Sporting Icon. Subscribe. Otherwise, I might pay you guys a visit.
So it's fight week. That means squeaky bum time for me, many of you guys. Now, my wife finds it quite funny that whenever Dillian fights, especially Dillian, and of course with Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury, for example, plus quite a few others, I do tend to spend more time out of the room than I do in it. I go on a pace. I go walk around the garden, even if it's raining, doesn't matter. And I'm pacing up and down because I get very, very nervous. I get emotionally invested, and especially with Dillian Whyte. Most of you will already know that Dillian Whyte is a very good friend, and he's probably one of the main reasons why maybe this channel is probably more successful, if we can even call it that, than maybe what it should be. Okay, because of the likes of Dillian Whyte. So I do owe him a lot, and every time he fights, I get very, very nervous. Not because I don't believe in him, it's because I'm a bit of a realist. I know heavyweight boxing, anything can and does happen. Okay, that's why I get nervous when all these guys fight. And with Dillian as well, what kind of Dillian is going to turn up? That's one of the things we don't know. Each and every fight, he's evolving. He's doing something that we didn't expect him to do. So as much as that this fight for Dillian Whyte is very, very dangerous with a Povetkin, it's also dangerous for Povetkin as well. Okay, now I know people say that Povetkin is old, he's past it, this, that and the other. These are just the anti-Matchroom brigade. Okay, when, for example, Povetkin, he took on Hughie Fury, not so long ago, by the way, well, this is a dangerous elite operator in Povetkin, former Olympic gold medalist, former world champion, exceptional resume. Hughie Fury, let's give him credit for taking this kind of fight. All these kind of things when Hughie Fury has, between amateur and pro, more experience than Dillian Whyte, right? And he's much younger than Dillian Whyte as well. But suddenly that was dangerous. But now, even though Povetkin beat Hughie Fury, well, Povetkin's old, he's past it. Why is Dillian Whyte fighting Povetkin? And when I spoke with Dillian about 2 weeks ago, when we had that very, very long interview, it was nearly an hour ago, which will pop up at the end of this video, by the way, where he was talking about, I asked Dillian, I said, what is it that you think when people say, well, why are you fighting old Povetkin when you should be fighting, say, a Luis Ortiz? When the answer is very simple there, really, isn't it? Ortiz, listen, I'll be far more comfortable if Dillian Whyte was fighting Ortiz right now than Povetkin. Ortiz is older than Povetkin. Ortiz never achieved anything as an amateur, never even qualified for the Olympics, was never a former world champion. He never achieved anything in comparison to Povetkin. And his gas tank is far worse than Povetkin as well. So yeah, I would feel more comfortable if he was taking on Ortiz. Of course, Ortiz is southpaw as well. But Povetkin is dangerous. Now, people will call this fight the battle of the left hook. I'm not so sure about that. Stylistically, listen, I can say it, Povetkin could be all wrong for Dillian Whyte. I did say the same thing when Dillian took on Joseph Parker, that stylistically, Joseph Parker could be all wrong for Dillian Whyte. And I'm saying the same thing again with Alexander Povetkin. Now, there's a reason why, say, for example, Tyson Fury, he said to Dillian Whyte a few weeks ago, don't look past Povetkin. Just be careful with this one. Why is he saying that? Because stylistically, Povetkin is all wrong for Dillian Whyte. Dillian, to beat Povetkin, he's going to have to do something that he hasn't done before. Now, again, let's not forget, Mark Tibbs is also not in his corner. Is that going to add a negative or a positive for him? We don't know. Mark Tibbs and Dillian Whyte, these guys have been working together like a dream for a hell of a long time. And Mark Tibbs has played a major, major role in developing Dillian Whyte to the level that he is right now. Now he's not in the corner now with Xavier Miller, who hasn't been on this kind of stage before. Is Xavier Miller, is he going to turn out to be the Sugar Hill, for example, when he was in the corner for Tyson Fury against Wilder in a rematch? Or is he not? We don't know. All these questions will be answered on fight night. But when you look at the overall picture, why is Dillian Whyte risking it? Why is he taking on a Alexander Povetkin? Why do you take on a Rivas? Why do you take on a Joseph Parker, a Derek Chisora rematch, and all these kind of things? These are the kind of fights he didn't need to, because when you're number one, just look at Kubrat Pulev, for example. He doesn't risk his number one position. Of course he doesn't. Wilder, he never risked his. In fact, when he was champion, he never risked it, except, of course, when he rematched Tyson Fury, then, you know what, we all know what happened. Because when you go to the well, there's only so many times you're going to be pulling up water. At some point, you're going to be pulling up an empty bucket. And this is the kind of narrative that I use when I look at, say, Dillian Whyte. How many more times are you going to risk it? Because at some point, it could well bite you on the backside. Not because of how Dillian Whyte fights or anything like that. It's because he's heavyweight boxing. You can put Dillian Whyte in there with a journeyman. He's a heavyweight. That journeyman could land the right punch at the right time and knock out Dillian Whyte. The right punch at the right time could knock out Tyson Fury, could knock out Anthony Joshua, all these kind of things. Okay, so why do you keep risking it? Well, it's because he's learning. He's going to learn more taking on a Povetkin and getting the win than what he would taking on, say, a journeyman. Of course he is. But his very next fight could be against Tyson Fury, a mega fight. Not just payday and hype and all that kind of thing, but his world heavyweight title shot. So why do it? And again, let's not forget, Dillian Whyte, he's been out in Portugal for 5 or 6 months now. That's an extended training camp. There's such a thing as overtraining. In fact, when I was speaking with Dillian a couple of weeks ago, one of the things I said to him was, is there a risk of overtraining? Now, spending a long time in the gym day after day after day after day for months and months without fighting is good in one way because you're getting in shape, you're getting fit, but you can burn yourself out. And you're not really going to realise that until maybe a day or two before fight night. Potentially even on fight night, when you step foot in that ring, you go, hang on, I don't feel too good. It happens time and time again. So, of course, with his fight being postponed, rescheduled, how's that going to have affected his psyche going into his fight? How's that going to be affecting his physicality? People want to point to the fact that Dillian Whyte wasn't in shape against Mariusz Wach. Again, anti-Matchroom Brigade. That's all it is. When he didn't train for that fight. We know why he didn't train for that fight. Because he thought he was going to lose his license. He thought he was being sabotaged. And let's be honest, it looked like he was. Okay, so would anybody go to the gym and try and get themselves working up and getting fit when you don't know if you're ever going to be allowed to box again? Of course not. And Dillian was no different. But yet he still got a win against a Mariusz Wach who has never been knocked out. He's never been hit the canvas. He's been stopped on his feet a couple of times, again, because his corner pulled him out due to maybe fatigue or tiredness, or was it against Miller where he damaged his hand or something? So, yes, Mariusz Wach, he does lose, but he doesn't get knocked out. So again, when people say, well, Dillian Whyte, he couldn't even knock out an old Mariusz Wach, well, nobody ever has. So let's be realistic. Now, stylistically, yes, this is a clash of styles, for sure. But again, Dillian, to get a win over Povetkin, he's going to have to do something a little different than what he has done before. Some of the things that he does fight after fight is going to play into the hands of Povetkin. But each and every fight, Dillian will add something different to his game. One fight, he'll be very, very patient. He'll be the boxer. He'll stay on the outside. Other fights, he'll just go in there and bully. We don't know what it is that Dillian Whyte's going to turn up. And again, that's a negative as well for Alexander Povetkin. Because Povetkin doesn't know what Dillian Whyte's going to turn up. Nobody does. Too many people have said to me that Povetkin is going to knock out Dillian Whyte. In fact, a couple of people who know Eddie Hearn, I've said this before, have said that Eddie Hearn wants Povetkin to win this fight. Because then the whole WBC situation goes away. Fury, Joshua is a clear path. I'm not necessarily sure that I buy into that one myself, but these are the kind of things going into this fight. So if the fight does go to points, is Dillian Whyte going to get the decision if he deserves it, the decision? Don't get me wrong. If it's pretty evident that Povetkin won that fight, then of course Povetkin should get the decision. That's boxing. And I don't want to be seeing those screw jobs or anything like that. But if it's pretty clear that Dillian Whyte won that fight and they end up awarding Povetkin the victory, then I guess some of these people may have been correct. Let's hope not, right? But my prediction for this fight is Dillian's going to have to go through war. He's going to have to go through hell in this fight. Unless, of course, he comes out with some kind of strategic game plan that nobody is expecting, that Povetkin is not expecting. Because to beat Povetkin, an older Povetkin, of course, what do? You take away the legs. How do you take away the legs? You go to the body. And unless, of course, he can land that big punch on the chin of Povetkin, then sure. But to break down Povetkin, you're going to have to go to the body. You're going to have to bully him. And to do that, you're going to have to put yourself into harm's way to potentially receive some back. So it's a very, very risky move, but that's how you beat the older guys. You just go to the body, unless, of course, you can land that one hell of a punch. Other than that, it's the body shots. To get the body shots, you're putting yourself in the danger zone. So it's very, very risky how you beat Povetkin. Hopefully, Xavier Miller has got a game plan that is going to work on the night. But it's dangerous. People say it's a battle of the left hooks. It's not a battle of the left hooks. It just isn't. Okay, yes, both of these guys do have devastating left hook knockout power. We get that, but there's a whole lot more to it than that one. When you weigh it up on the scales, Povetkin is far more experienced. Not just because he's 8 years older, or 7 or 8 years older, but because of the amateur experience, because of the pro experience, because of the big fight night experience. Dillian Whyte, of course, he's had quite a few big fight nights, so he's used to the occasion. But again, there's no crowd. Is that going to be a little different? Is he going to feel a little different with no crowd? Dillian feeds on the crowd. Povetkin, again, he's used to a crowd as well. So it's not just on Dillian Whyte. Povetkin, he feels the lack of a crowd as well. He may find it a little uncomfortable. He may relish the opportunity. They both may look at this like a sparring match, because obviously in sparring there's no crowd, so it's going to feel like that. Although the punches are going to hurt a hell of a lot more because of the smaller gloves and no head guards. But again, just look at Fight Night on Fight Camp. Has there been an upset yet? No, there hasn't. And this is the final Fight Camp. I don't know whether or not Eddie Hearn's going to do some more. We don't know. But so far, this will be Fight Camp 4. And on the previous 3, there hasn't really been an upset. I know some people talk about Rachel Ball over Shannon Courtenay. No, I predicted Rachel Ball was going to beat Shannon Courtenay. People say that the draw with Terry Harper and Natasha Jonas is a bit of an upset. In some ways, sure, but again, not really that shocking. Nothing has really been shocking. In fact, the most shocking thing that I saw was that Ted Cheeseman went life and death with Sam Eggington. I thought Ted Cheeseman was just going to do it. All right, so there hasn't really been a major upset so far. Maybe this is going to be the one. Let's hope not, okay? Let's really, really hope not, because I want to see Dillian Whyte get past Povetkin. I don't care how he does. If he knocks him out, beats him on points, get past Povetkin, and then let's see Tyson Fury versus Dillian Whyte. That's a monstrous fight. It's a monster fight. But he keeps on risking it, taking on Povetkin. Is it a mad move? Certainly. Is it a stupid move? Well, we'll find out on Sunday morning if it was a stupid move or not. But there's so many different elements to this fight. There's so much on the line. You're one fight away from potentially fighting Tyson Fury. In fact, Dillian Whyte could just cancel the fight right now, sit there, do nothing, and then get his world title shot. That's what most people would do, right? But Dillian ain't about that. As he says, he calls himself the Can Man. But of course, the anti-matchroom brigade, they'll do everything that they can and say, because they don't really know boxing. That's the truth of it. They claim that they are the hardcore, and everyone else who watches Sky are the casuals. Morons, absolute morons. But this is a dangerous fight for Dillian Whyte. Stylistically, it could be all wrong for Dillian Whyte. There's a hell of a lot to lose for this one, a hell of a lot. And I know there's quite a few people out there who would love nothing more than for Dillian Whyte to lose, just so they can come here and try and troll me. I mean, how sad and pathetic are these people, okay? But hey, it is what it is. It's heavyweight boxing. Anything can happen. Anything does happen. But of course, my prediction is Dillian Whyte will beat Alexander Povetkin on points. That's my prediction. I would love to see Dillian Whyte knock out Povetkin. In fact, I don't really care how Dillian Whyte wins, as long as he wins. I don't care if he makes it a boring fight. I don't care if he makes it an exciting fight. Just get the win. That's the only thing that I care about. Everything else, how he does it, I'm not really interested. The end result is what I'm interested in. But my prediction is Dillian Whyte to beat Alexander Povetkin by unanimous decision. Or at least hopefully he gets a decision, right? Anyway, drop your thoughts below, click thumbs up, subscribe, catch you all in the next video.